The sudden dawn of writing. In the ancient city of Uruk, where the sounds of trade mixed with the clinking of clay counters and the flow of the river, a quieter yet more powerful transformation was taking place, one that would forever shape the destiny of humankind. Within the lively markets and sacred temples, an unexpected and extraordinary creation emerged, the birth of writing. Unlike many technologies that developed through slow refinement, this innovation appeared with astonishing speed. One day, people relied entirely on memory, oral storytelling, and clay markers to track goods and events. The next wedge-shaped impressions began appearing on tablets, preserving words counts and decrees with accuracy that would echo through ages. The oldest known writings, dating to about 3200 BC, reveal a striking contradiction. They are highly advanced, yet show little trace of earlier experimentation. Were these characters the product of hidden trial and error, or did they emerge suddenly from the complex needs of a growing civilization? Clay envelopes, once used to hold tokens for measuring grain herds and trade items, may have laid the foundation, yet the shift from recording quantities to expressing language, ideas, and stories marks a profound leap. How did the Sumerians realize that symbols could capture thought itself, and why did that understanding arise when it did?
Archaeologists have uncovered tens of thousands of tablets, most serving as administrative ledgers. The earliest texts record grain distribution, food portions for laborers, and tallies of livestock. On the surface, the content appears mundane, but the system behind it displays remarkable intellectual depth. Pictures representing objects slowly evolved into symbols for
sounds and ideas. The mixture of pictographs, ideograms, and phonetic marks demonstrates more than bookkeeping. It represents a new level of abstract reasoning. Was this transformation spontaneous or driven by social and political necessity? As early city-states became more complex, the abrupt arrival of writing continues to puzzle researchers. Unlike ceramics or metallurgy, which show gradual development, writing appeared already capable of encoding contracts, hymns, and laws. Some scholars believe it arose as an urgent administrative tool, a solution to the growing challenges of managing urban life. Others see it as a cognitive breakthrough, the moment humanity realized that spoken words could be preserved in visible form. If this was the case, it reflected not only technical ingenuity but a rare act of imagination, transforming voice into image and image into permanence. The earliest inscriptions, though practical in content, reveal hints of broader awareness. Lists of names, goods, and agreements display a careful structure and a pattern of repetition, suggesting that their creators were beginning to think about communication beyond immediate tasks. Could those first scribes have known that their system would one day carry myths, codes, and prayers, or did writing begin as a simple tool whose deeper power lay dormant for centuries? The rapid expansion of cities such as Uruk and Eridu further deepens the mystery. As populations swelled with merchants, priests, craftsmen, and laborers, maintaining order, distributing resources, and tracking obligations required a system more enduring than memory or tokens. Writing emerged to fill that need, yet from its first appearance it was astonishingly refined. How did a culture with no prior model of symbolic expression create such a complex and functional system so swiftly? Was it born of one visionary mind, a collective realization, or the merging of social, economic, and spiritual pressures demanding greater organization? Some speculative thinkers propose that knowledge from distant lands or mysterious travelers might have sparked the change. Others imagine that the symbols reflect an intuitive understanding of universal order, the hidden link between numbers, language, and ideas. Though unverified, these notions emphasize the deeper meaning of this invention. Writing was not only a means of recording, it became the bridge between thought and existence, the tool through which humans learned to preserve wisdom and share it across generations. The sudden emergence of cuneiform compels reflection on human creativity. Unlike inventions that progress slowly, writing appears as a leap, both mental and cultural. It shows a civilization capable of advanced organization, abstract thinking, and planning for the future, yet its origin remains shadowed. Why there, and why then? Was it need, curiosity, or coincidence that gave rise to this miracle? As we study the earliest tablets worn by time, we witness a society on the threshold of immortality. Their small and simple marks transform the world. They proved that language could outlast memory, that thought could be preserved, and that knowledge could travel through time. Yet mystery remains. How did such an innovation truly begin? What hidden spark ignited this sudden dawn? Could earlier experiments have existed, only to vanish, leaving behind a leap that seems almost beyond belief? The enigma continues, calling us to imagine the minds, the hands, and the vision that first turned human speech into enduring form. The swift fall of an empire. Long shadows stretch over fields once sustained by carefully managed irrigation canals. The cities that once thrived with life now rest in silence, their streets deserted, their ziggurats worn by time, and their temples mute. The air itself seems to remember the echoes of merchants calling in markets, craftsmen shaping tools, and priests offering prayers for plentiful harvests. Yet within only a few generations, or perhaps mere decades, these centers of progress And brilliance were deserted. How could a civilization so complex and organized collapse with such startling speed? Archaeological discoveries paint a picture that is both vivid and confounding. In Uruk, one of the earliest grand cities, traces of sudden abandonment remain. Homes left incomplete, workshops scattered with tools, and storage rooms filled with unused pottery. In other sites, canals had filled with silt, fertile land had turned barren and once mighty walls crumbled into neglect. These findings suggest more than a slow fading. They point to abrupt disruption. Was it a force of nature, perhaps floods destroying their irrigation, or a long drought draining rivers and fields? Could earthquakes shifting rivers or the buildup of salt in the soil have rendered their lands lifeless almost instantly? Yet while natural causes seem plausible, they cannot fully explain the story. Excavations revealed charred ruins, shattered walls, and toppled archives, all signs of destruction that could point to warfare, rebellion, or internal unrest. City walls show signs of breach, tablets broken and scattered, evidence of fires sweeping through centers of governance and trade. Could human conflict over resources or power have worsened the blows of nature? And if so, why could such advanced societies with intricate organization and innovation not recover from it? The question deepens when we remember the technological mastery of the Sumerians. They perfected irrigation, metalwork, record-keeping, and city design. Their cities housed tens of thousands of citizens, maintained long-distance trade, and operated detailed bureaucracies. Achievements like these suggest strength, not fragility, yet the record shows that many of their cities fell silent around the same time, as if the very systems that once supported them turned against them. Was there a breaking point where natural, social, and political forces collided, overwhelming even their greatest capabilities? Trade networks give further clues. Surplus food and crafted items moved through Mesopotamia, linking cities through webs of mutual need. A disruption in one could spread to others, perhaps shifts in trade paths, loss of key metals like copper and tin, or growing competition from rising powers weakened these connections. But even then, the speed of collapse remains difficult to explain. How could cultures that had endured centuries of drought, floods, and conflict crumble so completely? Some ancient writings speak of divine wrath, omens, and celestial warnings, as though the Sumerians themselves sought to explain calamities that defied logic. Could such stories preserve distorted memories of real events long forgotten by history, or were they symbolic reflections of the fear and confusion that followed immense and sudden change? Ruins add still more mystery. Streets empty, but homes filled with personal items as if their owners fled without return. Administrative buildings once full of order left to decay. Temples once centers of both faith and power now incomplete or deserted. Was this a planned evacuation, or the chaos of panic driven by hunger, violence, or disease? Environmental records add further complexity. Core samples and sediments show both floods and droughts striking in cycles. The same rivers that once fed the fields could easily have turned into agents of destruction. Perhaps alternating extremes of drought and flood outpaced even the best engineering. Yet the Sumerians' irrigation systems were sophisticated, able to manage water for decades. Why then did they fail at that precise moment? Was the failure technical, social, or the result of pressures too great to contain? The human aspect must also be considered. Their complex administration, specialization, and dependency on large coordinated labor systems created vulnerability. Once communication faltered or leadership weakened, the structures holding society together could unravel rapidly. The decline of farming, trade, and order would follow naturally. Could this downfall have been inevitable, a weakness hidden beneath centuries of apparent prosperity? Walking among the remnants today, the contrast between the past and present feels haunting. Walls that once echoed with voices now crumble under wind and sunlight. Clay shards and broken tablets lie as silent witnesses to an age that ended in near-instant stillness. These deserted cities tell not of slow erosion but of a transformation so abrupt it defies comprehension, where brilliance turned to emptiness and invention to silence. The enigma of the Sumerians' sudden downfall remains unresolved. Were they undone by the forces of nature, by human ambition and conflict, or by causes beyond memory? How did a people capable of building wonders and recording thought fall so completely, leaving only fragments of their brilliance behind? And what unseen truths might still lie buried beneath the desert, waiting to shed light on one of the greatest collapses in all of human history?